Good evening, all of you. Welcome.
Hey.
I love Monday nights. I love them. I get to meet you even if it's not on a city street. Okay. Remember, you can interrupt at any time if there's a comment.
Sure.
Okay. I know exactly what the topics will be today because it was one of the most amazing weeks. Do you want to show the sketchbook before I speak or afterwards?
We can do it after.
Well, I'd rather speak about the week. It was a week that changed the way I see the future. And it's all because of Linda. With the tennis racket, where is she? There she is.
Lots of hearts. And Rhonda says that Franny, my mom, is here with us too.
I'd like to tell you that everything we do makes something happen, negative or positive, but nothing goes unnoticed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I showed you last week Linda's book where she wrote down our conversations. If I didn't show it last week,
I don't think you had it last week.
Kenny, my top drawer underneath the willows, underneath the pussy willow, right? The top drawer has it lying right on top. Thank you. Thank you. We don't know how powerful we are. Each of us. And Linda and I discovered it ourselves. We discovered it when we tried to find out, when I was doing, as I mentioned already, when I did a drawing of her. And I wanted to draw a picture that she would say, this looks just like me. And she said, no, I want you to do a picture of how you see me. I want to know how people see me. And we discovered one of the most powerful things for every one of us. It's this. My husband, Eric, used to say, if you're afraid of a dog, he will bite you. And since I was afraid of some dogs, that was just a point which made sense. But with Linda and I discovered that how we look at people is how they return to look to us. And if it's warm and welcoming, they see us as warm and welcoming, and they respond the same way. Like Dr. Shant, whom I've spoken about already, about the power of respect. How can you be angry at somebody who shows you respect? And we both realized what power a human being has and how that person responds to the world. I have a friend who once said to me, Hetty, do you know why I like to be with you? You don't complain about everything. As a matter of fact, you don't complain. And I said, that's strange, because that's the reason I love to be with you. because we can talk about things and not about the things that bother us. I think the world is made of givers and takers. If you give to the world, you get back. It might not be what you wanted. It might not be what you think you need. But nothing is taken from you. And at the moment we're all evolving. The temperature is evolving. I never saw a winter as warm as this. I'm delighted, but the people who have floods and the people who have ice cubes on their lawn, they're getting something else. And I have a wonderful relative, and I said to him, why is it that this is happening when it looked as if we were going forward? And he said, because we're forgetting for every positive, a negative follows. For every negative, a positive follows. And I thought, wow, if I could keep that in mind, just the way today was a sunny, gorgeous day. But I do know the weather prediction was that there may be rain on other days. So let me go back to Linda and what happened that wonderful night. On Thursday night, her friends and family who were local came to me, and I spoke about it, and it was wonderful, but I wasn't prepared for the next night. The next night there was a Shiva sitting. Those of you who don't know from your religion, just know in every time when people care for each other, when somebody dies, the people who love that person gather. I don't know how many people gathered for Hitler, but I'm sure he had friends too. But we drove and we drove and we drove. I was with Kenny. And we drove way out on Long Island. And we came to this huge, beautiful home. And there were all people gathered there who loved Linda. So many. So many. And all they wanted me to do was to speak about Linda because they knew how much I loved her and they had heard about the book, even if they didn't see it, which tells in her words, in her writing, about the various conversations we had. And it was as if she had given me to her and her to me. Because how often do you think that words are heard? But we didn't speak of stupidities. We didn't speak about the weather. We spoke about what we cared about. And I'm going to bring out what meant the most to Linda, because we're going to do something about it. We decided on that night that we're going to further her wishes. Now, those of you who've listened to me before know that my paintings are against prejudice. I thought that if I show who normal people are, the average people, then maybe they couldn't hate. Because during the Hitler time, when I was told that it's dangerous for me to go in the street because I'm Jewish, and that I couldn't go to public school because I would ruin people's lives, I thought that's because they don't know me. People who know me know I'm not dangerous. and that I would have to paint and draw only real people so that people would know who they are. Well, Linda did this here. When Linda, who was very athletic, she loved sports. During her last stage, she still played golf. And she wanted to be recognized as an artist, but was called a tomboy. And she wasn't allowed by our habits and the way our world was made to be anything except a female tomboy instead of a glorious athlete. And because of all those disappointments, she had so much anger about it. And we talked about it. And I know one of the things that she said was, if you go to college, you earn a master's degree. But there's no mistress degree. A mistress is not a hero. It's somebody who trades sex for being supported. And she began to look for words which degraded women. And we found out that I used to say, you guys, and she got very upset and said, no, Hetty, some of us are women. Don't use guys for a group. So I found out the only language that obeys that is Southerners, where you can say you all. So I changed my language. I never say guys anymore. I say all of you, or you all. She made me conscious of those things. And when I was with that huge, wonderful group of people, I forgot where the area was. I just know it was very far out. All they wanted to do was to have me speak about Linda. And I had already said to the smaller group on Thursday night, we can't stop with this. We have to meet. We have to meet occasionally, maybe a few times a year, and just speak of Linda. We're not going to let her disappear. So with this vast group way out in Long Island, I said, let's do something. Let's take her anger and spread out the message that she wants to give. Let's decide to meet. Excuse me. Let's decide. Eventually, I'll ask for a tissue. Thank you. Let's decide maybe to meet on the boardwalk in Long Beach and carry signs against prejudice, because it isn't just prejudice against women or athletes or anything like that. It's, Kenny, you're the best son in the universe. Thank you.
And you have a lot of comments. Should I read them to you?
I'd love it.
Different things? Or people just
But we're going back to this topic.
Should I wait? So, Jill Heinzman is watching. Phyllis Cooper is watching. Rhonda Soto is watching and says, hi, Hetty, we are here with you. Phyllis says, hi, all. Jill says, good evening. Tammy's watching. Rhonda Soto says, Franny, my mom is here with us, too. Dory is watching. Tracy Hepner is watching. Greg is watching. Marsha Goldstein Graber is watching, saying, hi, Hetty. Phyllis Cooper is telling you that it was in Old Westbury that we met. Bob Silverman is watching. Carol Hodkin. John Terratuso says, hi Ken, hi Hetty, hugs from California. Carol Hodkin is sending love. And Robert Silverman from Saturday Night is saying, hi Hetty.
Okay, then let me go back to this. Every one of you who just called in. No, it's okay. I want to make a statement. In her gift to the world. Let's change the world.
Oh, I'll just ask you to put that down because it's close to the microphone so everyone hears the crunching of the paper. I'll just ask you to put that down because everyone hears the crunching of that. You just place it down unless you're using it. Okay, sorry.
I would like us to start a movement against prejudice. Not against women, not prejudice against people of different colors, not prejudice against people with different bodies and different languages, but to stop judging each other. We do not know who we are. I have a symbol lately that is so vast, and John and Dory and people who know about this obsession of mine send me whatever they can about it. And that's the James Webb Solar Telescope. Because it came out to say there is no Milky Way. There is no single planet. Each one carries vastness. As Dory said to me, his Dory, right here. Right here. Right next to my Linda. To our Linda. And she said, think of one drop of water. How many living beings are in there? She also said something else once. She said, scientifically proven. Here is man and here is woman, two sexes. But what's in between is vast. Because each one of us is made of so many different combinations. A friend of mine right over here, Christopher said something once. He said, that means that in my body I carry bacteria, which is dangerous, it can kill, and I'm giving it shelter. Each of us is made of so many components. Somehow, start thinking of slogans. Help me. Let us, in some words, explain Linda's theory that we are all mixtures and carry everything within us. So if we discriminate against one, we're discriminating against ourselves. We're going to start a movement, okay? I wanted to bring in one more wonderful saying that happened to me during this week. You know, today is Purim. Purim is a festival of pure joy because supposedly we got rid of an enemy and we rejoice. And the second year in a row, a temple called Temple Beth Shalom has given me a beautiful big bag filled with goodies. And to the Shiva we brought some, and I had some at the table on Thursday night, and the rest we gave. I think we ate one. But I called the people whose name was signed, and I said, "Why did you do this? It's wonderful, but why?" Because this is not junk. These are really good things. And they said that they're the children of Holocaust survivors. And they wanted to say thank you. And I thought to myself, in Linda's name, let's us spread messages. We're going to be meeting. Kenny was the man who did that wonderful photography who we spoke to, named Robert?
Yes,
yeah,
he's
okay.
on.
I want to thank especially Robert from that night at the Shiva, because he did photos of us, but he loves his camera. There's a difference between people who love a medium of any kind and those who understand it. And when he had, in his camera, he had some of my paintings, but since my paintings are rectangular and his camera is like this, they had to be reapportioned. And that was nice. But then I saw the ones that he was taking of people, and the placement was absolutely brilliant. And I don't have much time left, I don't think. Am I right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I'm rich. Okay. Then 7. Then let me go further.
And can I just tell you that Robert says, "Hi, Hetty." I think I said Carol is sending love. Tracy Garling Meklaus is watching. Tracy from, I believe, Saturday night. Yola Pitakas is watching and sends love and says, "Hello, my dear friend Hetty, love you."
Okay. I want to tell you what I'm going to be doing with the painting. I found out that the only reason John Terracotta, who did a movie of my work, the only reason that he was able to really capture everything I am and everything I believe in was, you got it, good, was because of Facebook. Because I need an audience. I don't speak well to an individual. I need a group. And I had it at that night, way out in Long Island.
Old Westbury.
And they listened to every word. And it gave me the power to say, we're going to continue Linda's work. And I'd like a name for it. Linda's Thoughts or something. I looked into the eyes of so many of you, and I've never met so many eyes that carried messages. So I'm putting you to work. It's going to be from all of you. Keep me out of it, because I will do the work, but I will not let it be about me. I want it to be about Linda, because what she saw in me, I never saw in myself. She gave me a gift of taking my words and translating them so that I wouldn't be embarrassed, because none of us can sit peacefully if somebody praises us. I want us to praise Linda. Okay? Now, Kenny we'll show you, because we're supposed to show drawings. This is the oldest sketchbook I have. I began it when I came to America. And I would like very much to tell you that you do not become good at anything, unless you passionately want to get good at it. Because I looked at the first drawings, and I always did people who didn't know I was doing them. And Kenny, just open at random and show a couple of pictures, and then quickly go to the one that has a little paper sticking out.
Perfect.
Because where I have the paper showing out is the first time that I allowed myself to really do it. Anybody, Kenny, show about 3.
Okay.
Because I was learning what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to draw, but all I did was make insignificant things. And then, Kenny, go to the picture the first time that I decided I was going to do a real person. Okay? Yeah, on that page. Okay. Up to then, I had done the backs of people, the sides of people, very poorly. Like the legs were wrong, the nose was wrong. But this was one of my first serious teachers. Her name is Little Margaret because even though I was short, she was shorter. Margaret came to my house to visit. I met her at Wolf Appliance Company, where we painted roses and carnations on bathroom cups, on bathroom hampers, things like that. And it was slave labor, because we figured out it would cost 14 cents in lost wages if we had to go to the bathroom. But I want to explain little Margaret. She sat in front of Joni and drew Joni, and she felt her. Joni has that painting, right? And she didn't draw you because you wriggled too much. You were 2.5 years younger than Joni. And I think she was about 7 at that time, right? But you sat in her lap, and she loved that. But not in Joni's lap, in little Margaret's lap. And she loved you. But when I drew her, I saw her. I just saw her. Are you trying to find it, Kenny? We'll find it later, don't worry. I took that paper out and then I had to go through every page to find it again.
I'll just show another one of the kind that you were doing apart before little Margaret.
Well, I wanted to earn a living at art. Who knew I would earn it on Orchard Street? We each know what we're drawn to, and we don't know how to do it. And if we give up, we lose. The thing is never to give up. If you were to go from page to page on that sketchbook, my dream was to earn a living at art. It doesn't work. It only worked when I loved the subject so much that it became. Remember that with your children. And that telescope took centuries maybe more than that, until somebody found out that certain lights our normal camera cannot penetrate. But to me, the very fact that somebody saw somebody standing there and invented something which picked up that person and put it into a camera, and somebody would print it, and I can carry it, of my kids when they were little, and can remember because of that. And I love all of you very much. And keep Linda in mind, and I would like very much for all of you, the ones whom I met locally on Thursday night, and the ones whom I met from the universe way out in Long Island, all the people whose eyes I looked into and they looked at me, and that we let Linda come back to us in fighting for what she believed in, to fight against prejudice, not to judge until you know the person. Then if you want to judge badly about them, that's your problem, but not if you haven't known them. Thank you. I love you all.
And let me just tell you that Robert Silverman, Bob says, thank you, Hetty and Ken.
Little louder.
Oh, Robert Silverman says, thank you, Hetty and Ken. Appreciate your comments. And Tracy Garling Mecklaus, Tracy says, you are so inspirational, Hetty.
Bye-bye.